Welcome, everybody, to the Success Elevated podcast. As always, I'm your host, Hayden Lee, and I am joined this week by a whole gang of people. This is the biggest podcast to date. We've got 5 people here with us. We're really excited about this podcast. We're going to be talking about a lot of really cool things, but I'm just going to do a quick intro to everybody. On my left here, Katie Harris, founding partner of Spot On Solutions, as well as Derek Preece, joining virtual via Zoom, founding partner, Spot On Solutions.
Hey, everybody.
And we're joined by the two halves, the dynamic duo maybe of Blue Collar Nation, Super Tech U, Larry Wilberton, Eric Sprague. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Success Elevated podcast.
You really don't know what you're in for today, Hayden. Like this, now me, I'm easy, but that crew there, you got some trouble on your hands.
I was saying it's kind of like the Brady Bunch. We're gonna have to do a roll call, everybody. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
We're all on good behavior today. This is a professional podcast.
That's right. I was just gonna say the same thing. This will be very, very easy on you today, Hayden. We are going to keep it completely professional.
Until it's
totally,
not.
100%. 100%. Well, we wanted to talk today about a couple of different things, but the big thing coming up right now that you guys are all getting prepped for, that I'm excited to kind of maybe watch and partake of some of the content that's going to come out of, is this Inner Circle Bootcamp that you guys are getting ready to go be a part of with Howard Partridge and the team down there. So if you wouldn't mind, I don't know who wants to maybe take the first stab at it, but maybe talk a little bit, and maybe Eric and Larry, this can be where we kind of dive in, is talk a little bit about Howard Partridge and Inner Circle and kind of define what that is, and then we can go further into the bootcamp piece.
Okay, sure. So Larry and I, we started as carpet cleaners, and then we morphed into restoration with Derek's help. And, we started growing really fast, and the coaching group that we were in was great, but it was all marketing coaching. So, we could keep growing, but we didn't have any operational help. So it's like adding gas to a fire, right? So we keep growing, and our business is just chaos. And, it's interesting. I had seen Howard Partridge in a Clean Facts magazine, leaning on a Lexus with like 15 vans behind him, and like a suit and tie, right? Which in our industry is totally, out of character. And I remember thinking, like, that doesn't really fit, but man, he's doing something right. And we weren't big enough to go to some other coaching groups in restoration yet, but we needed that help. So I called up the Howard's office in the Inner Circle. I talked to Howard. Larry and I joined. That was 15, 16 years ago. We've been members ever since. And I mean, honestly, the Inner Circle and Howard Partridge saved our business, because I think we probably would have just imploded if we hadn't had the coaching and the help. And look, Derek was a little helpful too. I'll give him credit there, but
little helpful. He gave us our logo.
I was going to say, there you go.
Documentation that we had. We almost gave us a van. That was really cool. He almost gave us.
Yeah, I almost stole it.
Well, you stole everything else from me.
There it is. I was going to say we should have placed bets on the over under of how many minutes before Derek said you guys stole everything from him. Like, what? We should have before we did that.
You know it was coming. You knew it was coming out.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
That's right. Right.
What's that, Katie?
I think it's really cool. Like, I love hearing you tell the story of working with Howard, because on the flip side, I've sat in a room a lot of times and heard Howard tell the story of working with you guys, which I think is really cool, because he uses you as a great success story of somebody that came in just, over their heads, not even knowing where to go, but took and implemented everything he was teaching until you really, made all your dreams come true, which was really cool. So I loved hearing your version of it and comparing it to the times I've heard Howard give his. Really cool.
Well, the reason that we were a success story is because we just followed what he told us. We followed his plan. We took of his advice, and we implemented what worked with him, because he's got a system in his business. I don't know, how many trucks does he have, Eric?
I don't know. He's got a carpet cleaning business doing like $4+ million, which in carpet cleaning, that's huge. That's a lot of vans. It's 20+ vans.
Systems in operations, marketing, sales. I mean, everything's documented to a T, and we would just copy what he did because he gave it to us, just like Derek gave us all that stuff. what Howard gave us. Eric told me what to do and I did it. Pretty much is what happened.
Well, I think what's important is like, not that he has a $4 million business, which is phenomenal on any case. But I think what's the most awesome piece behind that is because of how he built his business. Like, he's not involved in that business. And he calls it, it's a turnkey business. He doesn't have to go to work in that business every single day, and it continues to grow, continues to profit, and provides a lifestyle for him that is fantastic. And I think that is what's so intriguing, is because I think by and large that's a dream of every entrepreneur, right? Is building a business that you can sell if you want to, but you don't have to, and you can continue to profit from it, not have to go.
Derek, what we've learned too over the years, like Howard is extremely turnkey. I know this from his managers who I'm friends with. He's a couple hours a month. That's it. No more in the service business than a few hours a month, if that. So that's one end of the spectrum. And then there's the end of the spectrum where everybody's just like literally a slave to their business, working nonstop on. But then there's all the stuff in the middle. And that was, for Larry and I, that was always our goal. It's like, I don't want to be not involved. Like, I like it. I don't want to have to be there every day.
Right.
I think for most listeners, that's probably their real end goal. That's what Larry, don't you think that's what we hear more? It's like, I still want to be involved, but I just don't want to be that involved.
Yeah. Well, that's what they want. They want that turnkey business. And that's what Howard talks about all the time. He did it. So you just follow his pattern and you're all good.
So really the beautiful part of Inner Circle, Hayden, is, and for everybody listening, is not only did he do it, but it was so systematized and so organized that you can replicate it, right? You can teach it, you can learn it, you can take those resources. And that's what he's done with Inner Circle. And I think we've been super blessed because Spot On Solutions was asked to be a part of that Inner Circle and help with the digital marketing training. Super Tech U's been part of it for a long time with a lot of the coaching and training as well. And so to be able to be welcomed into that Inner Circle and train has just really been an honor. And it's been amazing to watch what's happening to businesses as they follow that exact same system and join that Inner Circle community, which is super supportive and pretty amazing.
Yeah, it seems, again, outside looking in, I've been a part of maybe helping develop some of the trainings, but other than that, I haven't participated as much as I would like. And I think it's a really, really cool thing. But it seems like, and the tools like this, like we're able to sit down via Zoom and have a conversation with you guys. You've been able to help businesses and business owners grow their business just by jumping on a computer a couple times a month and sitting down and offering training and insights. And that's really, I think, the coolest part about Inner Circle is that you've built this community virtually. These people can do it from their homes. But I think, what you guys are prepping for coming up is there's always going to be some physical connection that makes something like doing a boot camp, which you guys are getting ready to go do, even that much more special. You've built this community online, but like, hey, you can't always replicate like one-on-one interactions in person. And I think that's, again, outside looking in, it seems like that's kind of the main thing behind the boot camp, right? So maybe, Derek, Katie, Larry and Eric have kind of given their story with Howard Partridge, but talk a little bit about what you guys are doing, prepping for with this boot camp.
So like you say, a few times a year, Inner Circle group gets to get together in person. And that's what's coming up in Sugar Land, Texas, February 21st, that week. And day one, we're doing something with Inner Circle that they haven't done in the past, which is a restoration focused full day boot camp. That's what we're going to do. Derek, you want to talk about what we're going to do there?
Well, I'm super excited about it because, we're going to be touching on from experience level, a whole lot of information, a whole lot of tools and trainings that really are going to help restoration companies move the needle in their business. Everything from, digital marketing, how to, the nuts and bolts and how to make that whole digital marketing piece work in your service, in your restoration business, as well as we're going to get into and I'm super excited about being there with Eric and Larry as they talk about the whole referral based marketing and how to grow that, how to integrate the referral marketing with the digital side of things, have all of those pistons firing together to really amp up the growth and the lead volume and the profitability of your business. And then we're going to jump into some of the operational side of things. We're going to help our client, the attendees wrap their head around and get a really good idea of like, what is the lifetime value of your customers, and how does that play a role? How does that affect the overall picture of your business and the growth of your business that way? So we're gonna help me out. We're touching on operations. We're talking on referral marketing, digital marketing. We're talking about and one of my favorite things, we're going to talk about the value of reviews and how important that customer sentiment is, not only for the conversion piece, but for the digital ranking and from the Google's perspective. So, and then how to go about getting and responding to reviews. So, and we've got a whole array of, like, all day of just jam-packed, powerful information that we're going to be sharing and getting in the weeds with the attendees that come that day. What did I miss, Eric, Larry?
I don't know, but we were benefited from your eloquence, and if everybody could see your hands,
how do you like that?
You're so much better with your hands. I'm just so impressed.
Yeah, the hand movements.
It's a podcast because I was just mesmerized by what you had to say with your hands.
I was trying to do that for you, Larry. I knew how distracted you were when people move their hands.
Yes.
So, if you really look at it, Derek, what you just said is we're really doing a morning thing where it's like, how do we get the phone to ring? How do we get business coming in the door? And then the afternoon, how do we actually do that work, sell that work, get paid for that work, and make sure everybody's happy? Right. So, there's so many breakdowns in a restoration company between business development and to the phone calls into the CSR receptionist and to estimators, project managers, and then techs. Like, restoration's a uniquely difficult trade. I think most people would agree with that. So in the afternoon, I know you guys are going to do a lot of digital. Larry's going to talk a lot about referral marketing. And then in the afternoon, I'm really going to dig deep on, like selling losses, right? It sounds so basic, right? Like, just go sell a loss. But in a lot of companies, the owner or the general manager is selling all the losses, right? So they can't really grow because they're doing a bunch of stuff. And then all of a sudden the phone has an avalanche of calls because it rained or it snowed or whatever. And all of a sudden technicians need to go sell losses if you want to actually grow and scale that business. So we're going to talk all about having systems in place to have people who aren't salespeople, quote unquote, be able to go and get losses. Larry and I had to learn that in our own business. There's only so many of us to go around and procure that work. And then we'll obviously go into systems for doing the work too. So that's one of the big things that we're going to really work on.
And that's just day one, Hayden. That's like,
oh my gosh.
That's like pre-event, right? That's restoration.
There's not enough hours in the day.
Restoration Inner Circle Hustlers Bootcamp. And then you get all of the phenomenal Howard Partridge content that comes after that.
So you've been giving me a sales pitch. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. The biggest thing you're going to get out of it is you're going to have tons of other restoration professionals right there in the room.
Oh, yeah.
That you can share stories with and communicate and network and make relationships. Like we've known Derek since, way too long. And it's been
the dinosaurs, great. Right, Larry?
Wonderful. It's been helpful, but realistically, you can meet some really cool people when you go out and you talk to everybody and you have some great relationships. You'll be having a blast. It's very valuable.
Just so you know, Hayden, I am not the oldest person on this podcast today. So I know frequently I am the oldest person, but there are others that saw the dinosaur age before I. So
okay, gotcha. Okay,
let's be careful.
He's not referring to me right
now.
No,
and Katie is bringing in the.
I know exactly who he's referring to.
Yeah. So hey, listen, for once, I'm not the butt of the old jokes here.
There you go. Very true. Well, I wanted to, and Katie, I'll pose this to you, but this is for you guys online too. We can all kind of chip in, but what you've given me all the details of a lot of the content you're going to be talking about. For me, again, outside looking in, I think a lot of our listeners are going to probably ask the question, why? Like, what is different about this particular conference than like another one maybe down the road from them, right? Like, why go to this thing? It seems like there's some really cool information and cool insights. Why should they go to this one and not maybe the one down the road from them? Yeah. What do you think, Katie?
That's a great question. I mean, we're busy and there's so many things you can spend your time on for sure. I think Larry hit it really well when he's like, hey, man, this room is going to be restoration contractors. All this information we're putting out there is so industry specific.
Yep.
And here's the best part, really. And okay, get ready, you three. Your heads are going to get really big for just a minute here. But like, you're looking at a team of people that have done it, right?
Yeah.
They've been in the trenches. They've learned the hard things. They've run the companies. They've felt the pain. They've slept all night in a shop instead of at home in their beds. Like they know what it feels like to grow that business, and then what it feels like, to turn it into something successful and ultimately end up on the other side. I think all three of you would say right now, you're doing something you're super passionate about, but your restoration company is what led you here. And so I think the opportunity to sit in a room, honestly, with people that have done what you're trying to do, that can talk about what you're feeling right then and give some real answers. I mean, that's pretty invaluable. You don't get that at a lot of things you go to.
Yeah.
It seems like
a lot. Go ahead, Eric.
I'm sorry. In addition to what Katie said, and I think our one-day restoration boot camp will feel this way too. Look, there's a lot of training for restoration, and most of, it's good, but often it's very strategic and it's very like positional, and this is exactly what a project manager does, and this and that. And this is more about, especially, like the owners and the managers who attend, but also, everybody. It's more about growing you too, growing your own skills, no matter what position you are in the company. And the inner circle's really dedicated to growing people and then getting those people the skills that they need to top that off with, right? So I like to think we're growing better restorers just as humans.
With the whole community, to back them up.
Exactly.
Yeah. Katie, to speak even more on your point, it's all over social media, and I'm sure we've all seen it. Like the guys that get up at conferences and are all about like hustle and grind and like do these things. And I again, it might be the skepticism in the back of my brain, but every time I see videos like that, I'm like, but have you really done it? You were probably given a several $100 million loan from your dad or something. I don't know. I always have this skeptic in the back. Like, you haven't actually done this. Yeah, you've built a business, but it was probably given to you somehow. But it seems like in this situation, to speak on what you're saying, like these guys have actually been there and experienced this, and they know that marketing in certain situations is going to work. Like digital marketing works because it's worked for Derek, and it's worked for Eric and Larry, right? And Eric and Larry know that their training for your techs or your CSRs is going to work because it's worked for them, right? Like, and I think that's again, outside looking in, that's what's going to set you guys apart, is like, you've been there, you've done it. You can speak from experience, not from, well, this conceptual idea might work for you in any industry. It's like, no, this is actually going to work for you in restoration. So it's pretty cool. I don't know. Yeah. Derek, were you going to say something there?
No, I agree with you. I think it's also important to understand, like like we said, this is day one, right? Day one, like Howard has invited us in to come a whole day early and bring in restorers to this, but what they're going to get in addition to day one is day 2, day 3, and day 4, of absolutely phenomenal information, strategy, and how to grow themselves and grow their business and achieve their dreams. Like, the Howard Partridge's Bootcamp on day 2.
They've got all kinds of speakers there
like,
too.
oh yeah, like
We got
awesome.
Dave Anderson is there. He's Mr. Accountability. They've got
Dr.
Crystal
Hearn will be there.
Russell. Yep, exactly.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Nathaniel
Hearn, Dr. Hearn, he's going to be like, I'm just stoked about the whole week is going to be amazing.
So that's what you got. You got a crew of people. If you can't tell, Hayden, I think that we're all super passionate about what we do. Like, we get really excited about this. The opportunity to go have a whole day. You know, we'll do training for an hour, but to have a whole day to really dive into this, you know, we're really passionate about it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And it's going to be informational. It sounds like for you as well. Like Derek's like, I'm excited to hear this guy speak, right? Like you guys get some benefit out of it as well, which sounds really, really awesome.
Yep, always do.
So and I don't know if we've actually said, but the dates are February 21st, 2nd, 3rd,
day.
and 4th, right?
Okay.
4 days in Sugar Land, Texas at the Sugar Land Marriott, right?
Marriott. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you can get the link to the sign up page here on the podcast. You can link that to it, Hayden, but seriously, like jam packed and really like so much value, especially for what it costs to go there, right? For the investment is like honestly, you're going to get your money's worth within the first
10 minutes.
Like, if you don't get your money's worth in the first 10 to 30 minutes, like,
you weren't listening. Doesn't sound like
you didn't come to learn anything.
We can't help you at that point.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So
is there a training on listening, Eric? Can you give one of those? Right? Like, oh, it sounds awesome. I think it's going to be really, really cool. And I know hopefully if there's listeners that can attend, you know, I'm sure we're going to have clients that'll be there, right? Like, I think there's just going to be a ton of really, really awesome value. And I'm excited for the future. I think Inner Circle has blessed us at Spot On Solutions in a ton of different ways, but really the biggest one is just, providing a community that we can help grow their businesses through digital marketing and that, you know, Howard can help us, you know, do the same. And it just seems like a really, really awesome place. So those that are listening, go check out the link in the description. If you'd like to go attend, if you're in the area or want to travel to the area, there'll be details for all of that in the link in the description. Go check out the Inner Circle Bootcamp, right? That's the full title, Inner Circle Bootcamp.
Anybody know the full title off the top of your head exactly?
I thought it was the Restoration Inner Circle Hustlers.
There you go.
Oh, that's not even
so. How
rich.
Santi have been telling us this is a rich boot camp. So Restoration Inner Circle Hustlers.
Love it.
And no, it'll be great. So mark your calendars, is coming up really, really fast. But we can't wait to see everybody there. Thanks for letting us talk about it for a little bit.
Of course. Thanks for joining us on the podcast, guys, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hayden.
This has been Success Elevated, making you a little bit better one show at a time. Thanks for joining us. Please subscribe on YouTube or any other major podcast platform to listen to more episodes. We are proudly brought to you by Spot On Solutions. If you'd like to learn more about how we can help you grow your business, please check us out at spotonsolutions.com.